And Marc, could you say a sentence or so about your background in the context of what we're doing here today?
So I do the Internet History program at the Computer History Museum. And actually we have along with Stanford, we in Stanford have the main archive of the work of Doug and his ARC lab, and also the NIC, which he started at SRI. And do you want me to talk about how I met Doug? Or?
Yeah, what was your personal connection with Doug?
Okay, so I really knew him as a historian. I interviewed him in 1996 when I was researching the history of the web. And he was very encouraging to me and my colleague at the time, Kevin Hughes. We invited him to keynote the Web History Day we did at the 1997 International Web Conference. And so this was one of, and there was some earlier contacts, but this was one of the main exposures, and it's really what we wanted to do, of the web community to the work of the 60s hypertext pioneers. So Doug was the keynote. We had Ted Nelson did the wake-up call with Ted Nelson at 8 in the morning by video link. Andy Van Dam spoke. So we really tried to connect this work with the web community. And actually at the end I moderated a panel with Tim Berners-Lee, Doug, Brewster Kahle, Pei Wei, but to try and bring those together.
What most impressed you about Doug?
Oh, I mean his work I think speaks for itself. I'll talk a bit more about it, but he had such a kind of nice manner. Just there's very kind of quiet charm, and his smile is really beautiful. I mean, just a really open smile, and just a very kind of nice, good sense of humor. But there was a sense that he was really thinking hard about things.
How would you describe the effect he's had on the world?
So I mean, he pretty much prototyped the way we use computers and networks today over 40 years ago. How much that influenced the world, I think there's a big irony. The things he considered least important in many ways got taken up whole, like the mouse. Things like the use of an individual workstation to read and write and communicate and collaborate have become standard, and certainly a lot of that came through his lab passing directly to other people and also through Park. But the real, and hypertext came in a sense through the web, but a very limited form. The really important parts of his vision to him haven't happened yet. So the really kind of tools that people can use as experts, as virtuosos to navigate information still aren't out there and being used. He wanted people to just fly through information in a way that we typically don't with our computers. And he wanted people to collaborate online in ways that, Wikipedia, for instance, is a taste of what online collaboration can be. But that's in a very, very specific context, impressive as it is. So, and obviously then all his goals for human interaction and to have groups interact and collaborate in ways that they don't today, it's still very much in the future.
Do you think this vision is going to happen? Are we moving in that direction? Will the vision end up being realized at some point, do you think?
Well, when you say the vision, there's so much there that it's parts will and parts won't, is the obvious answer. But I guess I feel like the web and the online world is just getting to the point that it is ready for to test some of those ideas. These ideas could have been done earlier if history had gone differently, But the fact is the world we have today is just reaching the point where some of the kind of issues that Doug was grappling with, and Ted as well, some of the other pioneers, are really coming up. I mean, how do you have lots and lots of people mark up the same information and share the results of them marking it up in a meaningful way so that it gives something more to the next person that comes along? Things that to them may have seemed basic in the 60s have turned out to be very hard to implement in reality with something as heterogeneous as the web. So the time is coming to test it.
Do you think the biggest bottlenecks are technological, or are there other bottlenecks that are not technological, like people?
Well, I mean, we've had the technology to implement this stuff since the 60s, and that certainly demonstrated that. It was expensive then, so you could say, but it's been 20 years you've had cheap, usable technology for this. I would say the big limits are standards and interoperability. I mean, where a lot of the problem is that you have lots and lots of excellent things that don't necessarily work well together. Getting a critical mass of a unified environment where enough people can really collaborate, that's the problem. There's so many ways to do it. There's like too many choices in many ways.
Do Doug believe in starting at a small scale? Well, I'll get this small group working collaboratively, and then if that succeeds, maybe we'll grow it a little bit, or was he looking for a top-down, worldwide, global kind of approach?
I'm not sure I'm the right person to ask that. I know that in computer systems he wanted to start with a very sophisticated system that he hoped would spread, and it didn't.
What do you think he'll be most remembered for over time?
Well, I hope that his reputation will increase and that people will actually start to look at the work he did in terms of what they do tomorrow, that future pioneers will look at it. So now he's remembered for a lot of the concepts of modern computing, obviously the mouse, and elements of hypertext, but let's hope that more of what he did does get into the mainstream.
Do you have any additional comments or observations about him to finish up?
No, just that we've lost a truly great man.
Okay, very good.
Is there anything in your research that you've done that would surprise many people concerning what Doug and the art group gave to us?
Oh, I think, and I try to bring some of this out in our exhibit. Most of what he did would surprise the average person. I mean, very few people realize just how much of both the modern computing world and things that haven't been done was prototyped, 40, 50 years ago.